Buenos días, clase de Español 1. This is Señor Irvin, and this is a quick explanation about the Myths and Truths Cinco de Mayo application. And what you're going to do is you're going to read an article, it's Cinco de Mayo article, and you're going to create an infographic. And an infographic, you've been looking at them on the previous assignments that you've actually been working on. A lot of Cinco de Mayo infographics, one of them was in English, one of them is in Español. And the one that you're about to create is going to be, again, in English. And what you're going to do is you're going to interpret information from this article here about Cinco de Mayo myths and truths. And you are going to then create an infographic. And the way that you go ahead and go about doing it, I highly recommend using a site called Canva and using the desktop version. Okay, so you're going to be using this version here on an actual computer. You have a Canva app on your iPad, but it's very limited, so I would highly recommend creating it here inside of canva.com on a desktop computer. Once you're in here in canva.com, I would make sure I'd log in, with your Google password, WK Falcons account, and then you're going to go ahead and create a design, as it says here, create a design. It comes up with this screen here, and I think actually the original screen is just these things up here, and then there's a little button called More. You want it to bring up the more because you want to get down here where it says blogging and ebooks. The last one on the list is this thing called Infographic. So I'm just going to go ahead and click it just to show you kind of what we're going to go about doing this. And you have a bunch of different types of layouts. It doesn't matter which layout you decide to choose. Just make sure you choose something that you can go ahead and modify to fit this article. So read the article, check out what are the different myths and what are the different truths that are about Cinco de Mayo, and how would you go about visually representing those things, right? So what I've done here is I chose one of the infographic layouts, and then I went ahead and said, okay, what's my first myth? The first myth is that it's in Mexican Independence Day. We know it's not Mexican Independence Day because you've been reading those articles or the other infographics that tells you that it's just a celebration of the Battle of Puebla, the winning of the Battle of Puebla. The real Mexican Independence Day is right here, the 16th of September. So this is basically the most important part of myth number one. So how do we put that in a visual representation? So let's check it out. We go over here to the infographic that I've already created. So I started here, and what I did is I just chose one of the layouts. I actually chose the layout, that's this one right here, Adventure Travel Layout. I threw it inside of here, and then I said, well, I'm going to start replacing some of the parts here. The first thing I replaced was this background image on Adventure Travel, and I just did a general search for Cinco de Mayo, and I had this awesome picture of these two people dancing for the Cinco de Mayo celebration. Perfect background for our infographic. So let's check it out right here. I just went ahead and dragged it into there. So how do you upload things? You go right here. There's a little upload button, and you can see I brought in the image here. I just clicked upload your own images. You go to the image itself, of course, and you right click and you save the image to somewhere like your desktop, for example, and then you go back inside of Canva and you upload your own image and you just drag it right into the background. It goes right there. One of the coolest things though is this original image actually looked like this. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the transparency. This is the original image. It is kind of hard to read Cinco de Mayo 5 myths and facts here. So all I did is up here, this little transparency thing, I just brought it down some just so that I can read what I'm writing as far as in front of it. So this is a Cinco de Mayo 5 myths and facts. It's kind of my header here. It's an infographic for Español 1. And then here's my first little part of my infographic. It says myth number 1. It's in Mexican Independence Day. It's not. And we put an actual thing. September 16th is the actual Mexican Independence Day. That was my most important information from this entire little section right here. So I've placed it right here. And this background, all I did is we'll go to where I found this. I typed in Mexican Independence Day images, and look at the first image. That's an awesome image. They're in Mexico City. They're celebrating Mexican Independence Day. You can see the Mexican flag there. Perfect one. I saved that image, and then I just dragged it, uploaded it, and then dragged that image right into here. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just dragging it right in, and it puts it right into the background. Again, I brought down the level of the transparency just by moving this little thing here. Then I just started changing as far as what I was writing here. Super easy to go ahead and bring in text. As you can see here, you can bring in headings. That's what this is, the myth. Subheadings, that's what this little thing is. And then I actually did a little bit of text and I brought it up a little bit as far as the size because it's super easy to bring it up. Once you have this entire infographic complete, by the way, you can just continue to change these things here, super easy. If you have another image, let's check out what I'm doing, just so you can kind of see how this all goes. You get an image, let's say it's this 16th of September background, I just drag it into there, boom, it's done. And then if I want to change this text or I just want to delete this text, I just get it here, I can just trash it. I can bring in text, let's just do that just to show you. Now this text is white, so I can just say, I don't really want white text. I can just change the color of the text very easily. Let's say I wanted it to be black or whatever, and then I can make it black or whatever it is that I'm actually working on. Super easy to drag and drop these different texts here. Once you get down to the bottom of the templates, you're like, oh, I still need more. So all you need to do is click, and as it says right here, add a new page, and it will let you continue to add pages. And when you are done, like you're like, okay, I'm done. Now how do I turn this in? You're going to come up here to the top right where it says download. You go download, and you make sure you choose this thing right here, PNG. It says it's recommended. Make sure you do that. I'm going to download as a PNG file, and then you just click download. And then it will just save it to your downloads on your computer, okay? If it brings up anything like I just had this thing where it said that you have some kind of picture that you have to pay for, make sure you just take those pictures off. It's probably like this picture right here. Just replace them with pictures of your own so that it doesn't charge you, obviously. You want it to be free. Once you download it, then you just go to Schoology, you go back to the assignment here, and you press the submit button here, and then you bring it in. Make sure that you go through all of these myths here, pick out the most important things, and make it visually appealing, okay? And then boom, you're going to be done. Bueno, okay. Adios, hasta la vista.